Hey everybody, welcome back to the Backcountry Manifesto podcast, brought to you by the fine folks at Sherport. I'm your buddy out west, Hayden Sam Mack, and today on the show we're talking to everybody's favorite lobsterman, Jacob Knowles. Jacob Knowles is a fifth-generation Mainer, and he started a extremely popular YouTube channel where he documents all of his lobster fishing, from his catches to clipping tails to releasing eggers with snacks. Today we're up here talking to him about what it's like to be a commercial fisherman, to be a Mainer, and I guess to be a YouTube and TikTok star. So, yeah, Jacob's a really great guy. I like him. You're going to like him a lot. I wish you were here. This might be my most elaborate excuse to go eat lobster somewhere ever, but I'm sure as heck having fun, and I want to share it with you guys. So, Andrew, let's get to our conversation with Jacob Knowles. All right, so you wanted the ketchup.
I'll take the ketchup.
So what are we eating here?
Red hot dogs. They're always referred to here. I know you call them pink. I guess pink could probably apply as well.
Well, I was just describing the color. Red hot dogs. This is the Mainer.
They're a very Maine thing. I don't think once you go outside of Maine, you can find them.
Okay. All right. Well,
everybody that comes is pretty blown away by the red hot dogs.
Okay. I like it. Well, let's get after it. We're going to kind of, as we're recording, we just got off that boat, not too long ago, and we're doing sort of like a Maine smorgasbord here. We got, and Andrew will have some really cool B-roll of it for you guys. We got, let's see, steamer clams, lobsters. Then we got Jonah crab claws.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yep.
We're doing the hot dogs, and then, the Moxie. I've been told that this has an undescribable flavor, but let's, cheers, man.
Cheers.
That's a superior hot dog, I think.
I feel like that's one of the better red hot dogs that I've eaten. It's probably a little bit to do with how hungry I am, but.
Yeah. Well, I haven't eaten either since we've been off the boat. We've been off the boat for a little bit, but it's weird. I expected it to be like more cured, like more curry, like sort of tasting, and it's not. It tastes almost like a milder hot dog with like better skin on it.
Yeah. I usually don't eat the red ones, to be totally honest. I usually eat the brown ones, but this is pretty good.
This hot dog f***s, man.
Yeah, this is good.
People are going to be like, this is a weird podcast, man. We thought we were going to talk about lobster and stuff. We're just talking about
down and we're just
hot dogs.
Mountain red hot dogs.
This is going to be a really fun one. We're sitting out here on like the harbor. We got lobster boats behind us. We got all sorts of shorebirds. You can hear them. Andrew will definitely be hamming that up. And if we can't hear them, we're going to add fake seagulls in post.
Perfect.
Dude, this is killer, man. Maine is one of the most beautiful places, I think, in the world.
I agree. I've done a little bit of traveling, and I feel like when I go on vacation anywhere, I'm always like, I get there and I'm like, this is cool. And then by the end of the vacation, I'm like, I'm ready to go home. Yeah.
That's how I feel about Montana. I tell Andrew all the time, we have this mountain range next to us, the Bridger Mountains. And every time I see those, like, I feel relieved.
Yeah.
Like, in my soul, I'm like, okay.
Home.
I'm home. Yeah. Base.
Yeah.
Your family, so, again, if you, like, fast-forwarded through the intro or something, we're talking all about lobstering with Jacob Knowles, extremely popular YouTuber, Instagram guy, giver of herring to lobsters, and proponent of releasing eggers.
Good title.
Yeah, we're going to talk all about lobster fishing, what being a commercial dude is sort of like. We're going to talk about the ecology of lobsters, the culinary fetishism of lobsters, all sorts of good stuff, and your rise to crustacean-based YouTube influencer fame. Does that sound like pretty good?
That sounds good.
Okay, cool. Now, what is a Mainer?
A Mainer?
Yeah, I feel like that's like is that like a term, like a Mainer?
A Mainer, yeah. What is a Mainer? I feel like resilience is probably pretty high on the list. Mm-hmm. Definitely a lot of struggles, a lot of challenges get thrown our way, regardless of if you're in the lobster industry or wherever you are.
Sure.
I think every Mainer has felt hard times at one time or another. So resilience probably pretty high. And I think we mentioned it a little bit earlier, like when Tristan said, we're very generous, and we help each other out. You know what I mean? We're kind of a community, and maybe that kind of ties back into the hard times and the struggles. But like, there's a community all along the coast. Like even if I met a complete stranger that was Mainer to Mainer, like you click. There's something there that's hard to explain. But yeah, very community driven, very respect driven, and Mainer's got Mainer's backs.
Mm. And you come from a long line of Mainers. How many generations have you guys been here?
I'm fifth generation lobster fisherman. So my father still fishes full time today. You actually saw him today out on the water. So it's kind of a cool dynamic. I grew up. Some of my earliest memories were on the back of his boat, and he taught me everything that he knows. And now, fast forward, we're still fishing side by side, but kind of in a competition kind of way.
Yeah.
It's a fun competition, a friendly competition. My grandfather was similar case. He's no longer with us. He passed away last year, but he was a great fisherman, full-time fisherman as well. And then once you go back to like my great-grandfather and my great-great-grandfather, those guys were in different times back then. They were lobster fishermen, but they were a little bit of whatever they needed to do to get by back then. You know what I mean? What lobstering is today is far from what it was back then. I don't think there was nearly as much money in it as far as trying to make a full-time go at it, but they did it.
Right. One of the really cool things is like seeing the kind of equipment that you guys were using, in modern day stuff. You know, you guys have it pretty dialed. Back then, way different.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah. When I think of like a lobster trap as like an idiot, I think of the kind of chicken wire stretched over that curve U, like wooden.
The round top ones.
Yeah, the round
that's what
top
they were
ones.
back like we were just talking about. Even my father, when he started out, when he was young, he can remember using wooden traps, and they were a lot more work than the ones that we have today. Ours are built tougher, because they have to withstand all of the new modern technology that's pulling them up. We're pulling them up a lot faster from a lot deeper water. But those old wooden traps required a lot of upkeep to keep fishing.
Yeah.
And so the old wooden traps today, if we were like, there's still places actually that use wooden traps. If you go up to Prince Edward Island, they prefer wooden traps. They claim that they fish better. They'll catch more lobsters. And I've always been fascinated with that idea to try experimenting with it a little bit, but we got these little things called borers. They're like a little mollusk, and they eat wood. They're like ocean termites. So you can imagine that trying to fish, like in Canada they have seasons, so their traps aren't in the water long enough to bother, or maybe they don't have the borer issue that we have.
Sure.
But fishing year round, leaving our traps out all winter, we would have like no wooden trap left at the end of the season. We'd have to pretty much buy all new traps each year.
Right. So then, when did those like kind of start falling out of favor?
I think wire traps started to take hold in like, don't quote me on that. I can't, obviously I can't remember. It was before I was born.
Sure.
But I think it was somewhere near like the 70s and 80s that wire traps came around.
Took over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these kind of look like juiced up versions of like little crab traps that I used to use in like New Jersey when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Describe, for people like listening, like how a lobster pot functions and like kind of the important parts of it.
Yeah.
Because these traps they look simple and they look clean. They're elaborate.
Yeah, and they've undergone a lot of changes since the first wire traps back in whenever they came into play.
Sure.
Like back then they were smaller. Called them, people refer to them now as mouse traps. They're only 3 feet long. They're much smaller. They're lighter. They don't weigh anything. But the principle is still the same. You have the entry heads that you can see on the side. They have little rings, little hoops in them. Hold the twine open. All the twine that you see is what we refer to as heads. They climb in. We put the bait right there in front of the entry heads. The lobsters can climb in and feed easily on the bait. Once they're done eating the bait, they want to get away from it. So actually a large percentage of the lobsters will climb back out of the trap and just leave. But some of them will get away from the bait by going backwards through that series of heads that you see towards the back of the trap, and the farther in they go,
the more difficult,
the harder it is to get back out.
So it's relatively easy for one of those to just crawl in and out.
They do it all the time. Yeah, they do it all the time. So that's like one of the things that fishermen have been trying to solve by like tweaking the traps here and there. And you'd be amazed at what small tweaks can do. Like everybody, like probably your first thought is like, well, why don't you put the bait in the back of the trap? Like, because then they got to go through all the series of heads to get back there, and then but they won't go in there.
Yeah,
like if they can't easily get in there to get it, they won't go in. So there's been a lot of fine tuning to get the traps to where they are today, and we're constantly experimenting with them and tweaking them a little bit to try to improve the catch. And we actually filmed a video yesterday where we were like, you actually saw it. We were like, what if we're going about this wrong? What if bigger isn't always better? Like, does size really matter? And like,
it does.
It does. we're like, we're in the mindset of like, let's build them bigger, let's build them heavier. Nobody ever thinks, did we get it wrong from the beginning?
Boy, howdy. Now, in talking about the evolution of traps, we're also talking about like the kind of evolution of lobster fishing in general, and I guess that kind of applies to the folks that fish lobsters. Was it kind of like a foregone conclusion to you that this is what you'd end up doing with your life? Like being a lobster fisherman, forget the YouTube shit.
Yeah.
But like, is it like a foregone conclusion that you were like, I'm going to be a lobsterman? Like, that's it.
Yeah. I think in the back of my mind, I always knew that. Until I was like in high school, I never even had a second thought about it. You know what I mean? And then like once college talk started to come about, that was the only time I ever really thought like, I mean, I never even gave it another thought until then. I was like, well, I guess I do have other options. I have a big passion for flying, and I am now a private pilot just for fun. It's just a hobby for me. But in high school, I really loved flying, and I kind of discussed it with myself in my head a little bit in high school. Like
maybe you'd be a pilot.
Maybe I'd be a pilot. Maybe I'd fly something. But I was like, I'll get my private pilot's license, and maybe I'll get my instrument and take a few of the steps towards.
You got your tail wheel.
I got my tail wheel. I got my high horsepower. I never did finish my instrument, but I did the ground school for it. And I figured like.
Instruments flying is spooky, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's different. I ultimately ended up making the decision to pursue lobstering, and I just had in mind, like, if I ever decided to go flying, I could do it.
Yeah.
But, like, I was already set up at the end of high school to go full-time. My senior year of high school, I was fishing full-time. I had the credits that I could go every other day to school. So I'd go to school one day, go lobstering the next, and Tristan was actually with me back then.
Oh, yeah.
He was my first stern man.
Yep.
Yeah, flip over the Handycam, would you? This is Tristan, man. Tristan is a hell of a fisherman. We've been out together for 2 days, having a lot of fun. He's been showing me all sorts of...
You're going to try and steal my job?
Really? No. I don't think
We're going to have that discussion here. How badly do you need to go back to Montana? Because you did pretty good out there.
I think Catherine would be real pissed if I was like, you know what, honey, I love you. And I think our new life is in Maine on the lobster boats. She likes to eat lobster. I'm not sure how she'd feel about the full-time career switch at this point. We've invested too much into the podcast, I think.
Fair enough.
Although I'll tell you what, man, on days like we had over the last 2 days,
can't beat it.
You couldn't have better days.
It would have been easy to switch, man.
I think Jacob can vouch for me. I'm not just saying this. You truly impressed, like, me, Cody, all of us. Like,
man, thanks.
You did a phenomenal
really
job.
Did. Like,
we've taken a lot of people on the boat. I've taken a lot of stern men on the boat that didn't do as good as you did today.
No, like the fact that like you wanted to always be doing something, learn, and like just kind of get into it. And like he said, I've worked with guys on the side of the boat where you have to kick them in the ass to try and get them to do something, and you're like, what can I do? Can I fill this? Can I do this? And you did great.
I appreciate it, man. You guys were good teachers. You made it a bunch of fun. And then also it's like, I think doing it for 2 days makes like things like kind of easier. I think if it was like a career thing, I feel like that's like probably a lot of the hard part.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but You're an outdoorsman. I've been around you enough. Like you could do it. You could.
Wait, why don't you come on over here, Tristan, man? I'm done talking to you all the way there.
No, you honestly, you could do it. Like,
well, I appreciate it, man. It really was a total hoot. Yeah. I had a ton of fun. Before we forget about these, though, I want to try Moxie, the Maynard drink, I guess.
He's pointing at you.
I'm excited for this.
Drinkmoxie.com.
Dude, yeah, he looks like
he really wants you to drink the Moxie.
He looks like it's drink Moxie or else.
If you don't, he's got that Benjamin Franklin look on the $100 bill.
Drink Moxie. We have your parents. All right, let's give it a shot.
I'm so excited to see what he...
So you've avoided prefacing it too much other than you say it's like Coca-Cola in that it has a flavor that is only, that only belongs to it, but it's like fairly divisive.
So...
Like people have hard feelings about it either way.
I hadn't drank it since I was a kid. And I don't know if I'm remembering it wrong from when I was a kid. I think they've changed it because I drank it like a month ago and it wasn't as bad as I remember.
It smells like if you took root beer and Coca-Cola at like the fountain and just mixed them together. Like it smells
and left
like
out something like the sugar or something. I don't know.
That's the part that makes me nervous because my favorite part about soda is all the sugar. Yeah, it tastes like it smells like, it smells like if you took the root beer and the Coca-Cola and then knocked a bunch of seltzer water into it and cut it down. Yeah.
I don't think it'll be as bad as you're expecting. Like
you guys have made me worried. I thought it was going to taste like a fisherman's friend.
I think you'll be all right.
No.
Yeah, I think you'll be. I think they changed it.
Yeah,
I really do because
I remember as a kid
it was like intolerable when I was a kid. But
that's
I feel
exactly
like
what I thought it tasted like.
It's not. Yeah.
Oh, it's got. That is weird.
Yeah.
The aftertaste is like a fisherman's friend. Dude, this is exactly what I thought this thing was going to taste like.
All right.
That's weird. That aftertaste like sneaks up on you. It's almost like you dropped a cough drop into it or something.
Yeah. I always said
it. Yeah, maybe you dropped a fisherman's friend in a Coke.
I've had it plenty. I always said it was like if you mixed Coke and cough syrup. When I was a kid, that was like, actually when I was a kid, it was
Lil
worse.
Wayne used to do that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Mix Coke and cough syrup.
Whatever gets you going. I'm not no saint.
Okay, Moxie. I have liked the red hot dogs and I've liked the Moxie significantly more than I thought I was going to.
What are you giving it for a grade, like out of 10?
I would, if I was in the mood for a root beer and didn't want something that sweet, I would probably go Moxie. The aftertaste, distracting to me.
Yeah.
I still prefer Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
But good. I actually, I like this like combination of foods we got going. I'm really excited for these lobsters. Andrew, come on. Because, again, we're going to, some of this will get edited out, I'm sure, but we got some really cool stuff. Why don't you talk to us about those? Because that was your thing. You want to try this Moxie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The hidden gem.
Yeah.
They're not quite as good as lobsters, but they're close.
Producer Andrew, what do you think?
Oh,
Unique,
right?
Yeah.
That kind of fucks too. I like the hot dogs. I like the soda.
That's great, actually. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Can we get the Andy cam rolling? Just out here. We're gonna use this big old boiler pot as our platform of whatever. Okay. So we have lobsters. That's pretty obvious. This is I'm very excited for this as well. Yeah,
you were talking about them a lot.
It's something that I have no experience with. To dump them. So, there's Sandy before they'll get Sandy again. What are these? They look like to me the very, 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 very expensive stone crab claws that you see people harvesting in Florida, and we're gonna have a clip of that right here. Okay, great. What are these?
Honestly, Jacob can probably tell you better than me, just because he's had so many people ask him about them.
Yeah, but you were the one who was hyped about him. I'm going to talk to him about lobsters and shit for the next hour. Man.
I don't know. I guess I just wish there was a better market for them or a way, because.
Well, what are they first?
They're,
I said they look like stone crabs, but they are not. They're
Jonah crabs.
Jonah crabs, and this is frequent bycatch.
Yeah, we catch
Too frequent.
Too frequent.
Yeah.
Like we are overabundant in them. I remember like how many? We had like 64 in one trap. That video you counted. It was ridiculous. Like 64 crabs. In one trap.
They can get in the way.
They're a nuisance.
So you throw bait on, and then the next morning it's gone, because they all come in, eat it, and therefore nothing left for
and
the
then
lobsters.
they just go to sleep in the trap.
Yeah, and then they take a nap and sleep in their hotel room, and then you just.
If I had in my pocket the amount of bait that they've eaten in dollars.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, like, ridiculous. So I just wish there was a better market so we could do something with them, because also.
But you think they taste great?
They're fantastic.
They're fantastic. They are, when it comes to seafood, second to lobster to me. Like,
really?
My dad, like, he would bring these home at least 2 times a week when he worked with his dad, just so he could eat them, because he loved them so much. He'd make crab meat rolls out of them.
And these are like super sizable claws too.
And they're right full. Like, the one downfall to them is they are a little bit of a trick to get into.
Yeah.
You got to cook them just right.
Yeah, you got to cook them just right.
But I
so
assume
that way
that's
you
the
can.
case for Florida stones too, right? I'm assuming that there's a trick to cooking them.
I kind of feel like that's
Like any crab or any crustacean.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to kind of know. You can't just.
But it's a really sweet meat. Like, really, really sweet. It reminds me a lot of a stone crab, but just really sweet.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't
All
know.
right. Next here we got these. These are. Well, I'm not going to get them near the.
As long as I don't breathe them, I'm good. Touch them or breathe them. Like, once they're cooking, I just can't be near the seam and I can't touch them.
How allergic are you? Is it like a problem? Is it like EpiPen level? Like.
Oh yeah, and I was never that bad.
Okay, you hold these.
Yeah, I wasn't that bad, but I worked at a mussel factory and I didn't know that I was allergic to them.
And then you found out.
Well, yeah, and it took me 3 ER trips before they finally were like, we think you might be allergic to them. So by that time, now that if I breathe them in or I get too close to them, touch my mouth after them, yeah, I mean, anaphylactic shock.
Oh, good. Okay, so tell me about steamer clams here. When I think of steamers, I think of like the little necks that we used to get at like the grocery store, like, back, I guess, down south relative to Maine. What's up with these ones? These look different than you might think.
Yeah, I mean, Tristan's actually probably more versed on the clams. You've done quite a bit of digging. Worms, I don't know about. Have you done much clam digging?
I used to back in the day, and I got a lot of buddies that do. And yeah, like people go nuts for these.
They are delicious. I think these are up there with one of my favorite. Like, steam them, deep fry them, like bread them, deep fry them, dip them in tartar sauce. I think they're one of my favorites. I love our clams. We have pretty big tides, as you can see. We're getting down here, and these just come out of the mud flats right here. I don't know what the difference is in them, in the clams that you're referring to, but
these are like kind of like, to me they look. The little steamers that I think of are I guess you would call them little neck clams.
Yeah,
like
I know what you mean.
The kind of like cherry stone miniature ones.
Yes. I was gonna say, because there's a different ones we get, the cherry stones ones you're talking about, but you can't even fit them both in your hand.
Yeah. Giant ones.
Yeah, but these they're crazy. They got a unique flavor to them. Like, every time I go to a party, they're always being cooked. Yeah. Every time.
And they got, so the things that I notice about them is that they have really big siphons.
Yeah, so if you purge them, like the night before you catch them, throw them in some water so that way they can shoot everything out. You'll look, like you said, they'll be purged out that far, like shooting out and stuff, but.
And they also kind of have like a little bit of a beard thing. So they, you steam them, you pull off like the beard, kind of skin the siphon, and then. But it's awesome. It's like a little butter handle that you can like dip them in perfect.
I was just gonna say, every time I watch somebody eating these, they got a whole bowl of butter and they just drench straight over them eating them.
Have you ever put vinegar in your butter?
No, but we're about to.
That's how we eat our lobster, and that's if I eat steamed clams, that's how I do it. We cut the butter with a little bit of vinegar, and it's fantastic.
Just bomber.
Yeah.
Okay, now
you turned me on to that one.
That's really good.
You did.
Tell us about the real thing here. And there's some stud lobsters in there,
most superior seafood in the world, right?
Yeah. Right, you hold this one, Tristan.
Oh, I'm scared.
Do we have that? Oh, yeah, this one right here. Is this that fresh shed, that big one? Yeah. Oh, no, this is a hard shell.
That's the shed, I think, or semi-shed.
This one's
Yeah.
pretty soft anyway.
Oh, no, Jake, take him. Look, Phila.
My lob. Oh, yeah, I heard
that
him.
one. Yeah, take him, Jake.
Here you go. We're going to all
We're like
hold
playing musical
lobsters
chairs
here.
with you. They're like, what is going on?
This is, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about lobsters, man.
Lobsters. They're good.
Yeah.
So they're good for many reasons. And Maine lobster, I would say, is some of the best lobster in the world. Because you heard us talk about it on the boat. These freshly shed
I'm
lobsters.
so excited.
You can see how orange their claws are underneath them.
Yeah.
And it just means that the lobster recently shed. And the closer that you eat them to the shed, like while they're soft shells, for one, they're much easier to pick out.
Yeah.
And two, they have a totally different flavor than a hard shell lobster. And most lobsters that people all over the country eat day to day are hard shell lobsters. That's why whenever somebody comes to Maine and they're like, there's something different about the lobsters in Maine. When we travel to Maine, it's because they're eating shedders.
Right.
And the soft shell lobsters, they're different than the hard shell. And that's what we have here tonight. And I will say that they're the only downfall to the shedders is there's less meat in them. So the hard shell, as far as a table presentation goes, the hard shells are packed full of meat and they look pretty when you lay them out on a table. And somebody pays big bucks to get a lobster and they've a little shriveled up shedder tail they might not be too happy with. But their flavor is far superior. And the other drawback to shedders is they're not as hardy. They don't survive as well, so they can't be shipped all over the country.
Oh, sure.
So that's why you kind of got to come to
Maine,
New England
yeah.
to get them. If you're like in California, you can't get a hold of shedders or Florida.
They won't make the trip.
They won't make the trip. They for one, they maybe could survive the trucking trip, but once you get them in the tank, they're not nearly as hardy as the hard shell lobsters. The hard shells can live for a long time.
Hey guys, this is Ad Hayden coming to you, or I guess semi-Ad Hayden. We had a whole bunch of ad copy written up, but I don't think I need it for this product. I just want to tell you about something that I like genuinely. That's sharedpour.com. Sharedpour.com is the place to go, in my humble opinion, if you're looking for hard-to-find bourbons, allocated whiskeys. I know that those two are sometimes the same thing. Or just spirits in general. I've been using them since way before we even considered being partners with him. Actually, since before, Andrew, I think, when did we start recording episodes for this? Yeah, like since before we recorded the first episode of Backcountry Manifesto. And here, look, here's the receipts to prove it. You see this bottle of Mammoth from our bourbon? That's a single barrel select right there. Now check this out. Here, you can hear it too if you're listening. Right, is that gonna be in frame, Andrew? Okay, well right here, I don't know. There's my receipt from March of 2024. I really do use these people. I believe in them as a company. They're great folks. Now, if you're 21 or older, that is very important. If you're a minor, pay no attention to this advertisement. And you live in the United States, sharedpour.com will ship liquor straight to your doorstep. You'll need a signature, but they'll do it with flat rate shipping, which is really helpful if you're ordering a couple bottles. That way you don't pay out the nose through shipping. You could order 10, 15 bottles. I don't know, maybe Craig, don't get mad at me. And they will ship for the same price as one. The other thing is that they're customer service experts. If you call them, should you have a problem with your order, and you won't, you will get a person who actually works there answering the phone and making the issue right. They have the best selection, whether it's a single barrel pick, again, a hard to find allocated bourbon, or even your daily sipper. You should check out sharedpour.com. And right now, and that is ad speak, you can use code BACKCOUNTRY, okay? That's Backcountry, all one word, all caps. I think that's important. That's what they were texting me and telling me was important. You will get 10% off your entire purchase at sharedpour.com. Go check them out. You'll like them as much as I do. You'll get a bunch of cool whiskey. You'll impress your friends. You'll annoy your spouse. And you'll have some great spirits. Backcountry for 10% off your order at sharedpour.com. Speaking of lobster survival, there are a whole bunch of conservation measures that you guys take to, I guess, ensure that these things are still around for y'all to catch. Can you tell us about in particular, I really like the tail notching
Yeah.
I like the tail notching deal. I think that's like super interesting and like I just think it's like a cool way to mark something. So explain the tail notch.
Yeah, so I don't know if we grabbed any female. That is the female there.
Yeah.
So it's basically something that we put in the females that have eggs, and not all the females can produce eggs. So the ones that can, we got to keep track of them. So we'll give them a V-notch on their tail, and after they have that V-notch, they're illegal to keep from that point on. So it's been done for many generations, and it was actually first imposed that the fishermen started it. So like the fishermen have been, there's a saying that Maine lobster fishermen have been practicing sustainability since before it was cool.
Right.
So like the state didn't impose the V-notch rule. The fishermen came forward and they're like, we got to protect these things.
Self-enforced.
Yeah.
Cool.
So now it's state enforced. So there's regulations around it, federal and state. But yeah, it's one of many things done.
And one of the things that I think is so cool is, man, you guys really, really carefully like inspect the
Every
tail.
lobster. Every
'Cause
lobster.
there's stuff where it looks like, I mean, dude, you wouldn't nick yourself like that shaving. I mean,
Yeah.
and there is just the littlest itty bitty thing, and you go, no, that's
Yep.
right back over.
Yep.
That's probably one of the fishermen's biggest fear, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Like that, people, you do not want to get caught with a punch. One, you just don't want to do it because it's
Yeah,
not
it's
right.
not the right thing to
but
do,
even
sure.
if like it's a big enforcement. You do not want to get caught with punch tails.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do not approve of that.
Yeah. Now, there are other more obvious signs that these lobsters, or not these ones, but that a lobster is a breeder. Now, I shouldn't be making friends with you. I'm going to do something bad to you in a minute. I'm sorry.
He's just talking sweet to her.
Yeah, there are other signs that a lobster is a female that are more obvious. What you call eggers.
Yep.
Or I guess not you, but everybody calls eggers.
That's
right?
what they're referred to. Yeah.
We did something pretty cool today regarding an egger. So obviously you can't keep the eggers.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that video that you're kind of working on. I think it'll be out by the time. If that video is out, which it may be, when it is out, we're going to put the link in the bio. Or the bio. I always say that, link in bio.
Link in bio.
I'm an
Link in the
Instagram
description,
kid.
yeah.
We're going to put it in the description, and you'll be able to watch the video that we're talking about right here. But yeah, so tell us about it.
It's pretty cool. There used to be several hatcheries along the coast, and the whole premise is that like you see these lobsters with the eggs on them, and they estimate that there's 10,000 eggs per pound of lobster. So if you got a 2-pound lobster, it's got 20,000 eggs. If you got a 5-pound lobster, it's got 50,000 eggs. And out of the 50,000, only 2 of them are estimated to survive to adulthood. So when the lobster's eggs first hatch, they go out and they basically look like a little sea flea, and they're in stage 1. And they don't go to bottom, they live in the water, and when they live in the water, the fish go crazy on them. Every kind of fish in the ocean is just fish candy. So pretty much all of them get eaten. A few of them grow to stage 2 and 3, and then they settle down onto the ocean floor where they have a little bit of protection because they can hide in the rocks and stuff. But they're still very vulnerable until they get like past stage 5. So the goal with the hatchery programs is to try to hatch the eggs in captivity, raise them past stage 4, and then release them into the water to decrease the mortality. And there used to be several of them back in the day. My grandfather used to be the one to go out and collect the egg-bearing females and bring them in for the hatcheries. And back then there was so much labor involved in it. They didn't even have like any of the technology that we have today. They were doing it out of 5-gallon buckets and changing the water out of the ocean, and like they didn't have anything. They were doing pretty good with it. Like they were releasing quite a bit of lobsters back into the ocean back then. And I don't know if it's coincidence or what, but 7 years after that, we had some of the best years landing lobsters the state has ever. Actually, not some of the best. It was the best. And it could be coincidence. The ocean runs in cycles a lot, so like we have good years and we have up years, and they tend to run like in 3, 4, 5, 6 year trends. So one of the things that interests me about bringing these hatchery programs back is just proving whether or not they're a viable option for when we have these flatter trends or downward trends that last for 7 or 8 years. Sometimes when we have downward or flat trends that last too long, the state will get concerned and they like to see the spikes. So they'll kind of intervene and start proposing regulations, stricter regulations. So some of the regulations that get put forward are not, some of them are good, some of them are not so easy to get behind.
Sure.
So a lot of them, I don't know.
But they're just more lobsters.
It's a deep rabbit hole.
Right.
So my point is, I think that the hatcheries are a cool avenue to explore to see if modern technology has changed enough where it can be done successfully without so much labor and so much expense that it cost back then. Like if we can set up a pretty automated system where we can basically build an aquaculture farm in the in the ocean. Obviously, we don't want to dump too many. Like there's a balance in nature, so you don't want to just go dump millions and millions. But if you can keep the volume high, it brings the cost down on the consumer side, and it gives more access to everybody to eat lobster.
Yeah,
and that's the goal.
If you're concerned about the lobsters being around, it's like, well, more lobsters, everybody wins, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
There are some, like the steelhead in the Great Lakes, like that was like kind of like a similar thing. Although it's, you're kind of subsidizing like a native population, but it seems like an awesome idea. So we did something today that you don't normally do.
I've only done it twice in my life. I did it once. We did it once last year for the first time.
Yeah.
We did it again today, where we actually kept one of the eggers, which is like highly unusual. You never hear of a fisherman saying they're going to do that, but the Oceanarium has a special license in place that allows a boat to collect them. They put us on that license. The Marine Patrol was notified. We brought the egger in.
You treated that thing like the queen of England.
She's the queen. Like
she had her own little
every egger gets treated.
All sorts of like water being circulated into it. The first thing that you did when you got off the dock was you grabbed that air filtration system, so it would be like perfect all the way back. Dude, you brought her out of that thing after the boat ride. She was pissed, dude.
She was very healthy, which is what we looked for. That's what we looked for all day. They are, like, the eggers are noticeably more aggressive.
Dude, it looked like she was wearing a dress made out of caviar. It's crazy.
Everybody says that in the comments. They're like, is that where caviar comes from? And
it looks just like
what does it taste like? I'm like, I've never eaten it. I don't know. But anyway.
But also it's really good.
So the lobster now is over at the Oceanarium in its tank. We dropped it off. We gave it a snack before we dropped it in its tank, and it'll be there for the next few months where it's going to hatch its eggs in captivity and people can follow along. We're going to go over and do updates.
Sweet.
And with any luck, last year when we did it, we only were able to successfully get 3 out of 50,000 eggs.
Oh, so they keep them isolated. They're not throwing them in a tank with a bunch of other...
They do. So the problem, like one of the most challenging things is once they all hatch, not only are the other fish in the ocean eating them, but they cannibalize the hell out of each other. And they, like, viciously. So the hatcheries had a really hard time keeping them like grouping up on each other. And they said if one starts to get bigger than the rest of them, he just goes to town on the rest of his brothers and sisters. And eats them all.
Thought you meant like the adult lobsters.
No, the babies. So if a baby gets to stage 4 while the rest of them are in stage 3, he's like the king and he just eats them all. And so the hatcheries now, like with modern technology, rather than back in the day when they were using buckets, they're making these different kind of tanks where they're circulating tons of current and tons of air, so that it's hard for those lobsters to hold on to each other. So they're after they hatch, they're going to put them in those, I think they referred to them as pseudocrisis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's the idea. Like, keep them apart, let them grow, and then we're going to take them into the ocean and let them go later this summer. Hopefully we can beat what Mother Nature would.
Yeah. So you shouldn't feel too bad about eating lobsters because they're basically from birth fratricidal maniacs.
Literally.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nature is.
If you don't eat them, they're going to eat themselves. Yeah. So you might as well eat them.
Way under the slot limit. That's another really cool thing that you guys are doing to protect the lobsters is the slot limits. Understanding a size limit in terms of like you can keep a trout over 10 inches long is like pretty easy for a lot of people to conceptualize, but when you say slot limit, a lot of people don't know what that means. What's a slot limit?
Yeah, so we have an undersize and we have an oversize, and the oversize is pretty unique to Maine. Maine is Maine is actually the strictest regulations around lobster.
What is that? What is that?
3 1/4 to 5 inches.
3 1/4 to 5
You measure from their eye down to the back of their shell.
Using like a caliper.
Yeah, it's right on the banding tool, and as long as they're between 3 1/4 and 5 inches, we can keep them. Anything over 5 inches is way too big. That's always the joke that we have. 5 inches. You don't want them over 5 inches. Those are too big. So 3 1/4 is perfect.
You want yourself
I'm sure it is, bro.
3 1/4 is what you want.
Show folks where you would measure that lobster.
So the top of the measure would go in here by the eye, and then the bottom of the measure comes down in here. So as long as it's between 3 1/4 and 5 inches across this measurement, then that lobster's good to go.
And unfortunate for this one, it was.
That one's good to go. That one's perfect. Like 3 1/2.
Yeah, that's like kind of the ideal size.
Oh yeah, that's what everyone wants.
If you get them too big, they're like, it's hard for me. I've joked around with this so much on the short form videos. It's hard for me to talk about it seriously now. But like, for real, like the ones over 5 inches are noticeably less sweet.
Okay.
So take that as you will.
And the reason that you do this is because the ones that are typically most successful in breeding are
Those larger ones.
but even the males.
Yeah. So like the females, obviously, as I said, they're 10,000 eggs per pound. So like those big females are producing like one 6-pound female is producing what 2 or 3 of those smaller ones are for eggs. But those smaller males can't breed those big females because they'll kill them.
Yeah.
The little male will come in and try to breed that big female, and she'll just kill him. And she'll probably eat him.
Yeah.
So those big males have to be protected as well. So there's something in the ocean to breed those big females. And there's a lot of pride in protecting those big oversized because it's been passed down. Like along the coast, like people are always blown away by 5th generation, but it's not that uncommon on the coast. Like there's a lot of 3rd, 4th, and 5th generation fishermen on the coast, and all of the generations before us have protected those oversized. So when we see them come up, it's like there's a pretty good chance that a lot of those oversized that we caught today, my father's caught, my grandfather's caught.
That's super cool.
And they protected them. So it's like it's an honor to catch it, and we're gonna protect you. And there's a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, it's like a kind of like a direct connector.
Yeah, it's cool, especially since like with my grandfather passing away last year. Like whenever you see those, it's like it's pretty crazy. Like.
Yeah, it's interesting to think of like an experience with a living thing in nature kind of being shared between, like, it's almost like some people like in the front lawn that have an oak tree and they'll be like, my grandpa planted that oak tree.
Exactly, same idea, for sure.
That was a great analogy.
Yeah, that's perfect. And it's like even cooler for us because like the oak tree you see every day, but like those lobsters,
it's like
you gotta go out and get them, and you gotta find them. So when you do find one, it's like, wow, we found an oak tree.
Yeah.
And we're constantly recapturing lobsters that we let go. So it's definitely like some people think that's a stretch to say my grandfather caught it, but like I would say the likelihood is probably very likely.
Yeah. And man, those things are big. Some of those claws were like, dinner plate
Huge.
size.
Yeah.
How when did those kind of restrictions go into place? Because I feel like I've been to, you go to like a lobster house or whatever, and like they'll have like a taxidermied like giant ass lobster on the wall, or like you'll see one like around a tank that's just like an absolute stud.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those big ones don't actually come from the trap fishery because our trap, like we can't keep them, so we don't design the traps to even bother to catch them. You know what I mean? So
when did that start happening though? When did they start?
The oversized regulation? I don't know. I know that it was in effect when my grandfather was fishing. I assume, I believe it was also, I wish I knew the answer to that off the top of my head. I don't.
But it's been a long time.
It's been a long time, yeah.
Okay.
3 or 4 generations.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah,
All right.
for a very long time.
Okay, so we were out on the boat today. We were having a hell of a good time. You know what? Right now, folks, coming to you while Andrew tries to adjust the camera and I take an inconvenient break. We're going to go to some footage of our day on the boat. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
there's a few. There's a little bit of singing. We might miss a few notes, but we're good.
The last time I saw you was down at the Greeks. There was whiskey and Sunday and tears in her cheeks. You sang me a song that was pure as the breeze on a road leading up Glenavee. I sat for a while at the Crescent Finner where young lovers would meet when the flowers were in bloom. Heard the men coming from the fire at Shinron, their hearts in Tipperary, wherever they go. Take my hand and dry your tears, babe. Take my hand, forget your fears, babe. There's no pain, there's no more sorrow. call and a fiddle playing shanty and all. And the next time I see you, we're down at the Greeks. There'll be whiskey and Sunday and tears in our cheeks. We're stupid to laugh and it's useless to bawl, but Rusty's in Cannon and already ball.
Super fun, hard work for sure. Like I said, it's easy to be like half decent at anything for 2 days, but doing it on day 70, that's like way different.
Yeah, those summer stretches can get pretty.
It can get tedious. When the fishing's good, it kind of keeps that tediousness. Is tediousness? Yeah, that's a word, right?
Now it is.
It keeps it at bay.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, tediousness.
He actually brought it up a little bit today. He was like, he was like, oh, we're seeing a little more activities in this one, and like things are flowing. I'm like, yeah, that's why summertime's nice, because when you get in that flow and you're just working,
it's fun.
You'll pick your head up and you'll be like, whoa, the day's done.
Those are the days that make you really enjoy the job and make you like it.
What do you think our pot average was today? I say our, but what do you think your pot average
fishing.
was?
Like this time of year, the water's still, especially coming off that winter that we just had, it was extremely cold. So the water's a lot colder than it has been the past few, and when the water's cold, the lobsters aren't very active. So like a pound to a trap, pound and a half to a trap is pretty average for this time of year.
So for like people who are just like trafficking in lobster numbers, if you had to guess lobster numbers, like per trap.
Like if you pulled a keeper lobster out of every single trap you hauled, that's pretty much like the par for this time of year.
But to talk about like, you know, not to like just keep banging on that conservation drum, although it's a good drum to bang on. I feel like y'all threw back 80% of every lobster
this time of year.
Every trap. I mean, it seemed like every trap had like between 2 to 3 to 5. There were a handful of traps that had nothing in it, but I remember those being like, I noticed them every time that they came up. You know, it was much more common for it to have 5 than to have 0.
It's funny you notice that too, because you were working in the sternman position. A lot of times the sternman will pay attention to that, because they'll try to be like, geez, is this one fishing wrong? Am I setting this one wrong? So you're starting to notice one, like, you know, wow, these last 4,
those empty ones are the ones that Tristan set upside down last time, is what he's getting at.
But no, like, it's just funny in the work aspect. Being back there, like, you start to think those things, you'll be like, geez, I wonder that, but it's just one of those things. They all could have been in that one, ate the bait, and then just gone to the next one over. Like,
if you can remember what strings I helped set,
no,
actually, you know what?
Good.
Pay no mind.
Don't
remember
If we
those.
see empty traps next time, we won't blame you. We'll blame Tristan.
Oh my gosh. So during the heat of the summer, though, when it is like fast and furious like that, in terms of poundage, but also in terms of number of lobsters per pot, where do you think you're at about?
It fluctuates tons. So it's
really good.
It's hard
Bomber
to put
fishing.
a nail on. It's hard to. So like you said, like you saw today, we were throwing most of what we catch overboard.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it turns, like in the summer, once the lobsters start shedding and they become much more active and crawling, it kind of flips, and most of what we're catching is keepers. So we're not throwing nearly as many overboard. We're not seeing as many eggers, not seeing as many oversized and shorts. And I mean, like if you ask fishermen up and down the coast, I'd say like good fishing, a pretty common number people would probably land on like 5 or 6 lobsters to a trap. Keepers. Yeah.
Would there be more?
What'd you do?
They're coming after you.
You know, it's what I've noticed is the police like to ruin a good time.
Not
always, and also I'm seeing it now. It's an ambulance, so
shame on you.
maybe the police ruined a really good time.
I'll
Really
agree with
ruined a
you
good
though.
time.
Since the first time I got busted, I said the same thing.
Yeah, I have gotten busted one time. Wemple, what's up, buddy?
I think we heard about that story, right?
Yeah, no, it was Spark Notes. Had insurance, didn't have proof of insurance in the car, had a summons, moved in with my girlfriend, missed the summons, went to the game station to pick up my hunting license, got arrested. It was embarrassing, nothing happened.
That's not the full story you gave us earlier.
Yeah, I gotta say, there was a lot of missing
you
details.
left a lot of pieces out of that.
Look, man, we said we weren't going to talk about the hookers and
all right.
cocaine.
All right, move on.
Okay, sorry.
What you're in like kind of an interesting position because you have it's a co-op.
Yeah.
Explain the co-op to me, please.
The co-op is basically an organization created by fishermen where 20, 30 boats. There's several different co-ops up and down the coast. They're very old. They've all been around for a long time, and they started back in the day where it was pretty hard to sell your catch back then. Like that was the problem. Like trying to.
Sure.
Like not just shore, like everything. The logistics of selling your catch was tricky. So the fishermen band together, and they created where I fish is the Winter Harbor Co-op, and we put up facilities there. This is like my grandfather's generation is when the Winter Harbor Co-op started. So he was one of the original board members of the Winter Harbor Co-op, and
OG.
Yeah, most of them are gone now. I don't know if there's any originals. I'll probably think of them as we go. But anyway. The sole purpose of the co-op was for the fishermen to create a facility that they own. It's fishermen owned. We hire management. We hire employees. We have bait, fuel there, and it's a convenience to the fishermen. We get in and we no longer have the headache of figuring out like the job's not just getting started when we hit land anymore, which is what the case is sometimes when you don't have a co-op. So we got the convenience. Like you saw how seamless it was when we got in. We're sold, fueled, done. We're back home.
Yeah.
Sometimes showered, sitting on the couch. By the time people are just sometimes like it. The convenience is nice.
It was really awesome to watch that. I mean, you literally pull up, you hit the first dock, you offload like the catch. You talk to the dude. He, I guess, knows exactly how much that those things are going to be worth. They mark your poundage. It goes up a conveyor belt into a warehouse. You go to the next dock where you pick up your skiff. You offload all your gear onto the dock. Follow it out on the mooring, catch the mooring, tie up the boat, skiff back, out.
Yep.
Yes.
It's a good setup.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that.
Yep.
It's nice.
The skiff ride was the longest part.
Yeah.
And that wasn't that far. That was like from us to, I don't know, practically the water. I mean, you could pitch a baseball.
Dude, it's a dream working in a co-op compared to when you have to do it yourself. Like, I've worked with a few people where I've had to do that, and like he said, it's just, you're not excited when you set that last one over. You're not. You're like, okay, well, I'm not going to be home for another 3 or 4 hours, and my day's just kind of getting started, because you got to go in, you got to unload them all, put them on a truck, drive them to somewhere to sell. You got to get your bait, come back, put that back on the boat, and then you finally get to go put it on the mooring. And it's just like, so much more time, so much more extra lifting, and it's just not worth it.
We're gonna have to wrap up here in just a second, but I'm interested in you have 2 young boys and a young girl, so like I guess that was a little bit presumptive of me in this follow-up question. You have 3 children.
Okay. Yeah.
And what do you think about them? Potentially becoming lobster fishermen. Is that something you'd want for them?
I think that. I mean, it'd be cool to see them pursue it, but I'm not going to like push it. Like, if it's something that they want to do, which they're already showing. Like my oldest is like, he wants to go every day, and I'm like, buddy, like it's February, and we're going offshore. Like in June and July, you can come. Like, I suspect this summer he's going to spend quite a bit of time on the boat, and similar to how I grew up on my dad's boat. And it was so funny because last year was the first year that he came, and it was like a blast. Like I was looking at myself on I was in my dad's shoes, and I'm like, this is weird. Like in a cool way. It was so cool. And like seeing his excitement and fascination with everything. Like it was a cool experience. And if they want to pursue it, then yeah, for sure, I'm going to do my all to teach them everything that I can. If they decide to go other routes, I'm not going to be, I'll encourage them to pursue whatever they're excited about.
Like if they wanted to go into, niche YouTube superstardom?
Sure.
Okay, well, let's talk about your niche YouTube superstardom, because that's another area that you can give them advice.
Yeah.
Did it shock you?
Yeah.
That people were so into this? Was it one video or was it an amalgam? Like how did that whole thing come to be?
Yeah, it's quite a long story. And so in high school I started, I followed a lot of YouTubers, and I don't know if I'm weird or what, but I get super passionate about I have too many passions, I think. I have too many hobbies because I'm just like, which way do I go? So like, I want to go fishing. I want to go hunting. I love filmmaking. I love space. I love lobstering. I'm like, so in high school, I found a passion for filmmaking and videography and loved it. So I started making YouTube videos about, like lobstering was really hard to make videos because you see how it's hard to run cameras and the boat at the same time.
It's amazing to me that you can even kind of do that.
It's hard because my number one priority is on the boat and the safety of everybody, and like the little action cameras are the only way I can pull it off. So like every bone in me wants to make these masterpieces and like cinematography stuff, but so early on, it was hard to make videos on the lobster boat, so I made a lot of stuff just about flying and fishing and other things that I like to do. And then when 2020 and COVID came along and short form content exploded, like now I could just whip my phone out and record a 1 minute clip. Now I can like create content
very quick,
easy. Like I can and then it was like that was met with stumbling across how many people were interested in learning about the fishery. And like, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time with the right, like, it was just like all the stars aligned, and it was kind of crazy. And then like 3 or 4 years, lobster fishing all day, editing all night, researching all night. Like it was, but I loved it. It was a grind, but I was doing it because I loved it.
And you edit all your videos.
At that time, but yeah, I was editing all the shorts. Yeah. And like people don't realize what goes into pulling that off. Like
Andrew realizes.
Yeah, okay. So
I'm lazy, bro. Well, I do this. I have fun, and Andrew just gets to clean up my mess.
That's like what I
up. I did.
That's what I thought social media was in high school when I was watching it. When I was watching it in high school, I was like, man, these guys got it. Like they just go around and do what they want to do and film it, and then like they're like you, and then I start doing it, which I'm not complaining about it because I loved it. Like, but
you pay the piper, dude. It's like you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But the entire time you're also doing.
Like it's like 2 full-time jobs at the same time, like 2 really hard full-time jobs at the same time, trying to juggle both of them. So like those first 4 years, I think I posted a short like pretty much every single day for like 3 years, and I probably missed some like through the winter in the off season because that was kind of tricky. I wasn't on the water a lot, but there was, and in the beginning I wasn't editing a lot either. But like as I got better, like further down the rabbit hole, I started editing them a lot more heavy. And those 3 years were, they were crazy, and they shocked me how quickly it grew.
Andrew is signaling me to do something.
I want a rolling rock.
Oh, you want a beer?
Yeah, I'll play it.
No, here you go.
Yeah, just talk.
All right.
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, to answer your question, I was surprised and shocked to see how quickly it grew. Like I can vividly remember hitting 10,000 followers on TikTok, and I was like, dude, 10,000 followers on TikTok? And then it was like 2 weeks later, I was at 100,000, and I'm like, what is going on right now? And then like that just fueled it to like I was already loving it, and I wasn't I was getting nothing from it other than just loving it. Like I wasn't doing it for fame or money or anything in the early phase. Like I did it for 3 years just for fun. So once I started like getting engagement and like people excited about it, I was like probably like too obsessed with it. Especially like getting a family going and like kids and like trying to balance everything. It's like you get too obsessed sometimes.
Dude, that's not just an opportunity for you, man. That's an opportunity for your family.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, how cool is it, like, some of the stuff that they're going to be able to do just because of this dumb fucking YouTube thing
right.
that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrew and I talk about that all the time with, Andrew's family, he has some young children, and my future family. We talk about, man, it's going to be, even if all this falls flat one day, it is going to be so unbelievable to like be able to take our kids to like some places through like the people we got to meet by exploring our passion.
Yeah. And not only that, but like your kids being able to watch you do these things like as they grow up. That was actually probably like one of the primary reasons I started. Like that was one of my motivators for starting YouTube, was like just some like to inspire, like for my kids for one, but like any of the younger generation to get outside and go fishing, or like, you know what I mean? Just inspire that passion.
Yeah, man, it's a cool thing that this kind of stuff allows us to do. I mean, it allows us to be here doing this kind of thing. It's like,
and the people you get to meet, like this, like I would never so many cases like this where I never would have, like I've met so many cool people through it, which has been super cool.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
But Andrew and I were talking just the other day about all the cool folks that we got to meet through doing this.
Just since I've been working with him, so I've met some amazing people, and like it's just pretty cool. Like you said, as far as the YouTube wise, like when he brings people on like you guys and stuff like that, it's just cool, so cool to hear your stories and like your sides of things and stuff like that, like your hunting stories and all that. But also like, because we can relate to them too in different ways, like because we hunt around here or whatnot. Sure. But it's just so cool from different parts of the world and different people he brings across. It's been one of my favorite things is like meeting them, hearing their stories, like, and also getting their take of like what they think about the industry and like how they think about our day of work, our things like that. Because it just allows you to talk to so many people and learn so many different things about like an area completely different.
No, I love it, man.
It really is. Like it's so cool.
It's a total gift all the time, and it's like been. Dude, it's been. Well, one more thing before I tell you how much of a pleasure it's been to hang out with you guys. One of the things I love in particular about what you've done specifically is that you recognize like the filmmaking thing, so you were pursuing something that you loved, but you were also doing it about something that you knew and loved. Yeah. And, you know, some people ask me like, oh, like, you know, not that I'm any like great content dude, but they ask me like, hey, like, what is your advice here? And we were talking about this in the car because you did the same question. Yeah. And it seems... Well, my favorite part is that you just did what you do, and you just shared it with people.
I would probably still be doing it today, regardless of if all of this happened and if it blew up. I would probably still be making the videos if I still had a couple thousand subscribers on YouTube. Like, it didn't really. I'm still doing it for fun. If it wasn't fun, it would get burnt out very quickly because I mean it's well, you know. Well, you probably do know that, like, even if you're not editing, it's still like the mental capacity that it takes up in your head, like it never shuts off.
Yeah, I book the guests. I do like their travel arrangements. I like, I mean, I still feel always as if Andrew works harder than I do, but to his credit, he did fly first class on the way here, is going to fly first class on the way back, and that's just because the bags were cheaper that way. We needed to bring the equipment.
He's gonna eat some Maine lobster fresh.
And he's gonna bring home like 20 lobsters. Okay, so it's not that bad. Don't feel that bad for Andrew. Hey, if people want to see more lobster stuff, more fishing stuff, adventure stuff, because you do all sorts of cool things on your YouTube channel, and not that this is going to be any great boon for you, but tell that camera just right where everybody can find you, would you?
Yeah, it's just if you type in Jacob Knowles on pretty much
Google,
most platforms, it should come up. Yeah, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Those three are my primary posting platforms. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
and thanks for having me on. This was, I don't know if we're wrapping up here, but either way, I didn't get to say it in the beginning. So thanks for having me on.
Dude, yeah, this has been like such an unbelievable hoot.
This whole trip's been great.
Can we pop the Andy camera up? Just one more thing for this outro. Show the people where Jacob put us up at so kindly. And these are people can rent these cabins.
Yeah. So we.
You're not always hanging out here recording podcasts, but
no. But we did have a cookout last year with the guests that we advertised on social media.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like in September, it's kind of in between seasons. So we were a little bit slow in September, and I advertised it on social media that we were going to host a cookout here. I was going to catch the lobsters and bring them in, and we sold all 10 of them out. And there was a whole crowd here, and we cooked lobsters and hang out.
Everybody having a badass
time. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and this is it's called Rest Ashore.
Rest Ashore Cottages.
Rest Ashore Cottages.
We have our own website, and it's linked in all my socials, and we're on Airbnb as well.
Awesome. Tristan, Jacob, thank you guys, man.
Thank you. This was fun. It's like I said, like, meeting people, and like this is the coolest part.
Yeah, this is a highlight.
One of the coolest parts. Yeah, there's many cool parts to it, but this is definitely a highlight.
Yeah, well, it's a highlight for me too. And also, here is a highlight montage of our cooking seafood Peace.
Let's feast.
Let's feast.
All right,
I've been eating since noontime. Let's go. One red hot dog since noon.